Nothing like having something come running up really fast behind you in the dark to really get your heart going in the morning. This will be quick because I don't know if you can see anything. It's 4, almost 30 in the morning. We are out here so I can start raking. Oh, there's the rake. And Sam is with me to show me how awesome his flashlight is and also to show me where the lights are on the tractor. Because I feel like I've come out early before, but not this early. And I don't know if I remember how to do it all. So he's gonna get me started. It's nothing like having something come running up really fast behind you in the dark to really get your heart going in the morning. So yeah, once it's light enough to show you some stuff, I'll show you some stuff. Otherwise, we'll just be raking. So we're starting at 4-ish because this is the coolest it's gonna be all day. So this is the closest to getting dew that we're gonna have. And geez, dog. And we want dew because it helps the leaves stay on the stems and not get knocked off when we're raking. And hopefully we'll have a little bit cooler temperatures tomorrow even for baling. So wish us luck. Why is Sam out here in the side-by-side? Or maybe that's not Sam. Maybe that's the neighbor. Nope, that's got to be the neighbor because that's not our field, I'm pretty sure. Or he's out here in the side-by-side. I don't know. Or the neighbor's out here in the side-by-side. Anyway, it is 6:45. So I've been out here for a couple of hours. And it's going good. I think I really like the narrower windrows. They seem to be raking really nicely and not having a lot of area that's getting missed. I don't know if you can tell, it is really bumpy. So the drag harrowing and all of that may have helped for a little while, but then yeah, the gophers have started wreaking havoc again. So we are going to hopefully work on that and then drag it all again in the fall and do the track filling and then let it do what it's going to do over the winter. And if we need to drag it again in the spring before we get the water back on and stuff, we can do that. But hopefully that will all help. So I can't, let me go a little faster. Whoa, not that fast. Yeah. So one thing that I do think is pretty funny is sometimes when I'm out doing this, especially when it's really bumpy like this, I'll get a message on my watch that says, oh, it looks like you're, sorry, big bumps. It looks like you're on an outdoor bike ride. Would you like me to record your exercise for you? Because apparently riding around in a really bumpy tractor is similar, according to Apple Watch, to the motion or whatever of a outdoor bike ride. So figure, if I can get some exercise points for driving a tractor, it's a good day for me. So the dogs are off and on out here with me. Oh, this is so rough. I don't know if you guys can see how many divots and things are in the ground. They've stopped following every lap. For a while, Daisy was just in front of me, which is cute and all, but when she's right in front of you and then she decides to stop and sniff the ground like that, or her sister who stops and decides to use the bathroom on the windrow that you are I'm currently trying to rake, it gets in the way a little bit. So this is the part up at the top where you have to turn around and not hit the pivot. And Sam has said that I can't drive into myself, but I don't know if you can see how close that is over there. Not that I'm going to try to tempt fate and see if I can prove him wrong, but it feels like I could drive into myself. So we're just gonna trust that Sam knows what he's talking about, because he usually does. And we're going to trust that as long as I go slow, I will not drive into myself. Oh, mumps. Poor tractor. This is why, no, this isn't why, but this is one of the nice things about older equipment, I believe. Everything, well, it's all pre-emissions, so you don't have to worry about any of that garbage like DEF and EGR and I don't know, DFP, or I don't know what all the acronyms are, but silly exhaust stuff. Can you see how close she is to the front of the tractor? Ugh, dog, move. I just wish she would go like one row over. Like, why does she have to be right in front of me? There she goes. I don't know if I just bumped her, or if she finally caught on, or if she smelled something else, or I don't know, got bored. But anyway, we don't have any of the emission stuff on it, and while we don't have a lot of fancy electronic niceties, everything is mechanical, so we have that weird balance of finding something that's new enough that we can still get parts, but is old enough that it's mechanical enough that we can work on it, and Sam can work on it and fix things if need be. But yeah, one thing I would like to get, and I'm sure he will add it at some point, is a radio, because there's not a lot going on in here other than me talking to myself right now, or talking to you. So anyway, I'm apparently out here exercising on my outdoor bike ride. I'm trying not to run over a dog, but I think it's going pretty good. I think I only have maybe a tower and a half left, and they get shorter as they get closer to the middle, so I'm just going to keep going, and I'll probably show you some of the little pivot, because I don't know if I've ever showed you that, so stay tuned. So I don't know if I've showed this before. This is one of the funnest and the hardest rows, because usually we take 2 windrows and put them together, but because when we mow we have 9 rows between wheel tracks, we have to, on the pass next to the wheel track, we have to take basically rows 7 and 8 and try to fold them into row 9. So trying to grab the outside of that and also the outside of that and put them together into one giant windrow that you probably can't see, not drive into the wheel track. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, finding that delicate balance of grabbing as much as I can of this windrow and as much as I can of those two, and trying to put them together. Something inevitably is going to get missed, but the whole point of raking, I mean, and besides just rolling in the alfalfa to let the stuff that's on the bottom dry, is trying to make straight lines for Sam to bale. So yeah, that's a lot, and you can kind of see that this a little bit, but we're doing okay. I was also thinking just now, kind of funny to me, that other channels that I watch are really good about talking about what kind of equipment they have, like the model and make of their equipment. Hold on, this is where I get kind of confused. What am I doing here? That's the road, that's a wheel track. This is the weird little center section of headland, or hedgerows. Okay, I got it. Found it. So I have to go across this wheel track. Oh, sorry, tractor. So now I'm doing the center. Wow. So this is going to go really fast because this distance is shorter. However, I have to cross the road like 4 times, I think. So I don't know what model any of our equipment is. I know this is a Mahindra. I know the blue tractor is a New Holland. I know the swather is a Massey Ferguson or a Heston, which they may be interchangeable. Like, I think Massey bought Heston, or I could be wrong about that and I could just be making that up, but I don't know what model the swather is, even though I just looked at the book the other day. It's got a 9 in it, like a 9135 or something, I don't know. If you know, you can let me know. Oh, and then the rake, I'm pretty sure is a 917 Darf, just because I see the number 917, and I know it's a Darf rake, which, way back before this, we had an Allen, like, basket rake, and it just didn't, it was, yeah. I don't know if it was the hills, or whatever, something. It just did not work well out here. So I really wanted a wheel rake, and I loved this rake. Since we bought it, I don't think we've done any repairs to it. I don't even know if Sam's done any maintenance on it, but he might. I don't know what maintenance there is to do on it, so if there is, he's probably done it. Nope, I'm not on this under yet. So I'm on the second tower, finish this tower, and then I get to do the center, but I should be done pretty quick. So, like I said, it's a lot of turning around, so I'm gonna concentrate, drive with 2 hands, and I will pick you back up in a couple minutes. Alright, well, it's 7:15, so the big pivot is officially done. So I think it took, I mean, our goal was to start at 4, but I think it was a little after, maybe even closer to 4:30 by the time we got out here. So almost 3 hours to do the big pivot. So that's pretty good. Okay, here we are on our way to the little pivot. So we're just gonna rake our way up the road, start on the little pivot, and then all that will be left is the corners and the hedgerows. So we'll see what time I get that all done. I think I'm most nervous about the corners. I don't know which corner. All the corners have hand lines in them. But you've seen me try to dodge this before, so I mentioned earlier some of the channels that I watch that mention their equipment and things, and I don't know if it's because I'm a teacher or just because people always mispronounce our last name. I hate pronouncing people's names wrong, so I'm gonna do my best to say their names correctly, and if I get it wrong, I'm super sorry. But one of the channels that we watch is Cabu Farms, and I believe they are in Maryland, but I could be wrong about that also. Somewhere mid-Atlantic-ish by the Chesapeake Bay, maybe, I think. And one of the things that I like about watching their videos is they also do hay, but they do grass hay. So the process is very different. They just put out a video, I think last week, about cutting their hay and how they don't want any dew, and they ted their hay instead of raking, so that's super cool to see. And then I believe, again, I'm super sorry if I mispronounce your name, I think it's McCary Farms or Mockery Farms, or I'm completely wrong and it's neither one of those, in Nebraska, and they also do alfalfa hay. They do a ton of stuff, but they do alfalfa hay, and so they rake also, but they do round bales instead of square bales. So I just think it's really cool that here we are in 3 different parts of the country, kind of not quite West Coast, but western part of the country right in the middle, and then Atlantic, mid-Atlantic coast, doing very similar things but in different ways. So yeah, if you haven't already checked out their channels, you should totally go check them out. Highly recommend it. Love seeing what they do on their farms. And the scale of where we're at, the one in Nebraska is much bigger than we are. And I think Pabu Farms, I think they might be a little bit smaller, but they do some similar things. They raise chickens and Idaho pasture pigs and things, but their production of that is on a much bigger scale than ours, whereas, you know, we have 1 chicken right now and 2 pigs. So again, just if you haven't yet, go check them out, because it's fun to watch other people doing the things that they do, and I've learned a lot from watching both of their channels. So, well, the dogs are already out here ahead of me. Looks like maybe hunting or trying to do some gopher control, or just dig big holes in the field. So this is the little pivot. It is only 4 towers. There is no road cutting the pivot in half, so it tends to go quite a bit faster. Just trying to get lined up on my hedgerow. And I'm gonna start on the inside of the 4th tower and work my way in towards the center. And then take a deep breath and try not to cry a little as I have to go do the corners, because I'm not looking forward to that. But I've done it before, I can do it again, it'll be fine. The way you get better at doing things is to practice doing it. So I'm gonna put you on time lapse and you can watch some hay getting raked. So stay tuned. Well, that was the 4th tower. So now we just need to do that 3 more times. And then go learn more about the corners. I don't know how well that shows up, but that's basically mud that has been pushed out of the wheel track. And that is why the pivot gets stuck right down there. The frame of the pivot drags on that, and all that mud's right there, and the tires can't really get any traction on the ground, and they just end up having to push all that mud in front of them, and it just gets stuck. So that's the giant mess it makes in the field when the pivot gets stuck, not to mention the pivot getting stuck. And if we don't catch it fast enough and get the water shut off, then it makes a big flooded mess right there, which it's already at the bottom of the swell, so water kind of pools there anyway. So Sam needs to bring out some gravel and put it in the bottom of that wheel track so that that doesn't happen as much, or hopefully at all. All right, well, the little pivot is done. Iris is gonna have to move. So now I have to start on the corners. I have this little chunk right here, the bottom of the small pivot, all that over there, and then the outside of the big pivot. So far I've used, boy, that's dirty, a little less than a half a tank of gas. I don't know how big the fuel tank is, and I can't remember what we paid for fuel. We filled up all the equipment, and then we filled our diesel tanks, and then not like just like a week or so ago, the prices dropped. But we could have gambled and waited, and the prices could have gone up. So yeah, now I'm gonna, got some butterflies going. I'm gonna do the corners. What's the worst that could happen, right? Okay, wish me luck. Okay, so this little lower corner section is done. There might be some spots that I missed. Worst case, I'll come out with a pitchfork and fling them into a wheel track or weed pile or something. So now I'm just following this row that I made, 2 windrows that I put together. I'm just following it back up, straddling it. Technically, it really shouldn't be getting raked again. It should be in the gap in between the wheels. It looks like the leaves did a really good job of staying on the hay. So it's a good thing we didn't, it's probably a good thing that we didn't rake the last couple of days, even though we would have had a little bit more moisture in the hay and it would have helped the leaves stay on a little bit better. With as strong as the wind was blowing, it either would have blown the windrows away or apart, or just kind of cheese grated the leaves off of it. So any leaves that we are losing, because it's a little bit drier, I feel like we're still ahead from where we would have been if it would have just sat and gotten wind blown the last couple of days. So I'm gonna follow this track out. Hopefully I picked one that's far enough away from the fence. And then I'll just keep working on corners. So I don't know why this is so nerve-wracking for me, but it is. And I'm sure, like this big chunk right here, I don't know how to get that. So that's probably a pitchfork problem. So the tractor is parked right here for a couple of reasons. First, I made it through all of the corners and started on this corner over here. And up at the top of the hill, over there, thought maybe it was starting to make a squealing noise, so I wanted Sam to come at least listen to it. By the time I got over here, it was, I want to say around 11. So I'd been raking for 7 hours, 6.5 hours, something like that. But he was kind enough to finish this corner so that we can be done raking. Actually, we're not done yet. He has to do the rest of the hedgerows on the big pivot and one of the hedgerows on the little pivot. Actually, I want him to finish the hedgerows. I don't like this hedgerow on the big pivot. It's very steep. Let's see if I can figure out how to show that's level. And it just goes up that way. So I don't like the angle, and I don't like how you're on the edge of a hill. I don't like how close it is to the pivot. So at least that hedgerow that's closest to the pivot, I prefer for him to do. I can do the one that's the next one out, but if he's in there, he can do it a lot faster than I can anyway. So he'll probably finish the hedgerows. He might run out with the baler tonight just to do a little bit of a test run. But I think the plan is to get up and bale tomorrow. I don't know if it's another 4 o'clock wake up or not, but at least he doesn't have to do his day job tomorrow as well. So that wraps up raking. Thanks for watching.